Ladies and gentlemen, champions in the making, let me ask you a question. What if you're only one decision away from the life you were created to live? Not 100, not 1,000. One. C, most people are waiting for a breakthrough, but breakthroughs don't wait for people. They meet people who are already moving, already pushing, already doing the uncomfortable work day in and day out. Push yourself every day, not because life is hard, but because you were designed for greatness. There's a difference between surviving and thriving. Surviving is reactive. Thriving is intentional. And pushing yourself daily is the bridge between where you are and where you've been called to go. What if the breakthrough you've been waiting for is actually waiting on you? Most people go through life believing that success, opportunity, and transformation are random gifts handed to a select few. As they sit on the sidelines, hoping and praying for something big to happen. A moment, a miracle, a door to swing wide open. But the truth is, breakthroughs don't chase the passive. They don't arrive on the doorsteps of the idle. They meet people who are already moving. Movement is the evidence of faith. It's the signal to the universe and to your purpose that you're serious. It doesn't have to be massive movement. It can be small, quiet, consistent steps, but it must be movement. The person who pushes every single day, who chooses growth over comfort, who shows up even when no one else does, that person gets the breakthrough. Why? Why? Because they've positioned themselves for it. They're not waiting for life to get easier. They're preparing while others are procrastinating. As us, most people want the reward without the resistance. They want the destination without the discomfort of the journey. But that's not how it works. The process is part of the promise. You don't get access to the next level by standing still. As us, you get there by pushing through the friction, showing up when it's inconvenient, and doing the hard work that others refuse to do. Imagine a farmer who plants no seed, does no tilling, and makes no preparation, yet prays for a harvest. It would seem ridiculous. But many people live that way, expecting results with no effort, no sweat, no sacrifice. A breakthrough requires more than belief. It requires movement. Faith is not sitting still and wishing. Faith is getting up and working, as even when the outcome is unclear. Movement declares to the world that you are ready for what you've asked for. There's a momentum that builds when you move. Each decision to act, even imperfectly, creates energy. That energy multiplies. It attracts clarity, relationships, favor, and opportunity. When you move, you grow. When you move, you learn. When you move, you become. But if you stand still, all those things remain locked away, just out of reach. Your breakthrough won't chase you down while you're hiding behind excuses. It won't knock on your door while you're binge watching distractions and running from responsibility. It shows up when you rise up, when you say, I may not have all the answers, but I'm not staying here. It's that spirit that opens doors, that shifts seasons, that activates the kind of growth that changes lives. And here's what most people miss: the movement doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need a crowd. You don't need applause. All you need is the decision to push forward. Today, you don't have to feel ready. You just have to start. Movement invites momentum, and momentum attracts miracles as it helps us. It's not the person with the loudest voice who gets the breakthrough. It's the one with the loudest commitment in their daily actions. If you've been waiting, hoping something will change, hoping a door will open, stop waiting, start moving. Get serious, get focused. Show life you mean business. Whether it's making the phone call, writing the plan, training your body, learning the skill, or investing in your mind, take a step, push. even if it's uphill, even if it's slow, because the breakthrough will not meet you where you stand still. It will meet you where you move. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. It helps us. It's the silent force that lulls people into settling for less than they're capable of. It doesn't shout or demand attention. It whispers, "You're doing fine," even when you're falling short of your potential. Comfort convinces people to say the same when everything inside them knows they were built for more. It disguises itself as peace, but it's really stagnation wearing a smile. The path to greatness is always uphill. It requires discomfort, sacrifice, and discipline. That's why so few walk it. Most people retreat the moment things get tough. They choose the easy route, the one paved with short-term pleasure instead of long-term purpose. But nothing meaningful, nothing truly impactful has ever come from staying comfortable. Growth never happens in the comfort zone. It happens when you stretch, when you step into the unfamiliar, when you challenge your limits and decide to become more than you've been. Comfort seduces people into waiting for the perfect time, the ideal conditions, the right feelings. But greatness doesn't wait. It demands that you act before you're ready, that you invest before you feel safe, that you speak up before you feel qualified. It's in those moments of discomfort that character is built, vision is sharpened, and resilience is forged. The person who becomes great is not the one who avoids pain, it's the one who pushes through it with purpose. When you get comfortable, you stop asking questions, you stop stretching your imagination, you stop reaching, and over time, that comfort calcifies into complacency. You begin to accept what you once dreamed of changing. You normalize average. You start believing the lie that this is just how it is, instead of remembering you have the power to create something greater. The danger of comfort is that it can make you forget who you really are. Think about the most impactful people in history. They weren't comfortable. They didn't stay where it was safe. They ran toward the fire. They spoke when it was risky. They sacrificed when it had been easier to stay silent and still. They understood that greatness requires pressure, that diamonds aren't formed in relaxing environments. They're frigid under intense heat and weight. If you want to do something extraordinary, you have to be willing to experience the extraordinary discomfort that comes with it. The enemy of your future is not failure, it's comfort. Because failure still teaches. Failure still moves you forward. But comfort leaves you stagnant. It makes you soft. It removes your edge. And over time, it steals your drive. You stop innovating. You stop believing. You stop fighting. And before you know it, you're drifting through life instead of designing it. When you push yourself past comfort, you discover capacity you didn't know you had. You uncover strength that was buried under fear. You tap into a version of yourself that's been waiting to be activated. Every time you choose discomfort in the name of growth, you send a message to your subconscious mind that you're not here to play small. You're here to expand, to build, to lead, to leave a mark. Most people want to feel good, but the people who become great are willing to feel uncomfortable. They understand that pain is temporary, but regret is permanent. They'd rather sweat now than wish later. They'd rather be stretched now than be stuck forever. It's not easy, but it's worth it every single time. Comfort is easy, but easy never changed the world. Easy never changed a life. Easy never broke a cycle. If you want to be uncommon, if you want to live a life that's meaningful and unforgettable, you have to make a decision, stay comfortable and live average, or get uncomfortable and unlock your greatness. You were designed to dominate, not settle. From the moment you were born, You carried potential within you that the world has never seen before and will never see again. But potential alone doesn't create impact. It has to be activated, developed, and unleashed. Too many people spend their lives shrinking themselves to fit into environments they've outgrown, dimming their light so others feel comfortable, and settling for mediocrity when they were built for mastery. Settling isn't just about giving up. It's about accepting a version of life that's less than what you're capable of living. It's compromising your calling for convenience. It's choosing what's easy over what's right. And it's dangerous, not because it hurts in the moment, but because it slowly erodes your belief in what's possible. It chips away at your drive, your vision, your hunger. One small compromise leads to another, and before long, you've traded destiny for distraction. Domination isn't about control over others. It's about control over yourself. It's about mastering your mind, your habits, your time, your energy. It's taking full responsibility for your outcomes, refusing to blame circumstances, and showing up every single day with purpose. It's leading with intention, even when no one's watching. It's showing up not just when you feel motivated, but when you're tired, frustrated, or afraid, because you know what's at stake. You were not created to live life on the sidelines. You weren't born to blend in or follow the crowd. You were crafted with precision, given gifts and talents and ideas that are uniquely yours. And those gifts aren't random. They're clues to your assignment. But gifts unused become burdens. They turn into restlessness, anxiety, even resentment. Deep down, you know you're capable of more, but the fear of failure keeps you frozen. The truth is, the real failure is settling for less than what you were made for. Domination means choosing growth when you could choose comfort. It means aiming higher when the world says, that's good enough. It means not just surviving, but thriving, multiplying, expanding, and becoming all you were meant to be. It's about making bold moves, taking risks, building discipline, and doing the things that scare you, because the real you lives on the other side of fear. The version of you that changes lives, breaks chains, and inspires generations doesn't show up until you decide you're done settling. The world doesn't need more people who play it safe. It needs people who are bold enough to believe they were created for impact and disciplined enough to live like it. Settling might feel safe in the moment, but long term, it costs you everything. Your joy, your peace, your sense of purpose. Domination is risky, but it's real, it's honest, it's powerful, and it produces fruit that lasts. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. You weren't given breath to simply exist. You were given vision, creativity, and influence to make a difference. But that only happens when you stop negotiating with your limitations and start aligning with your potential. There's nothing humble about settling. True humility is honoring the calling on your life by doing something with it. It's not about thinking less of yourself. It's about thinking accurately and acting courageously. You're not average. You're not accidental. You are intentional, strategic, and equipped to dominate. The decision to dominate isn't made once. It's made daily in how you think, in how you speak, in how you respond to pressure, in how you train your body, your mind, and your spirit. Settling says, this is enough. Domination says, I was made for more. One path keeps you comfortable. The other demands commitment. One path leads to regret. The other leads to legacy. Motivation is a feeling. Commitment is a decision. Feelings come and go, driven by mood, environment, and circumstances. One day you feel inspired, the next you don't. One moment you're fired up to pursue your goals. The next moment you're discouraged by how far you still have to go. If you build your life, your habits, your discipline, or your vision on motivation alone, you'll be inconsistent at best and ineffective at worst, because feelings are unstable and anything built on them will eventually crumble. Commitment, on the other hand, is solid. It's rooted in choice, not emotion. It's not reactive, it's proactive. When you make a decision to commit, you're not saying, I'll do this as long as I feel like it. You're saying, I'll do this no matter how I feel. That level of decision is what separates who finish from those who fizzle out. It helps us. That's what separates leaders from talkers. That's the difference between those who hope and those who harvest results. You don't rise to your level of motivation. You fall to your level of commitment. Motivation may get you started, but it's commitment that keeps you going when the excitement wears off. And it always wears off. That's when the real work begins. That's when the discipline kicks in. That's when the people who were driven by hype fade away, and the people driven by a decision keep showing up, keep pushing forward, and keep making progress regardless of what it looks like. Commitment is when you do the work, even when it's boring, repetitive, or inconvenient. It's when you keep showing up, even when no one notices. It's when you stay focused, even when you don't see immediate results. That's where real transformation happens. It's not in the bursts of excitement. It's in the quiet, unseen moments where you choose to honor your decision over your feelings. Anyone can be motivated for a day. That doesn't take much. Watch a video, read a quote. Hear a speech, suddenly you feel unstoppable. But commitment, that's tested in the grind. It's proven when no one's cheering you on, when everything in you says quit, when the results are slower than expected. Commitment says, this isn't about how I feel. This is about who I said I would become. That's power. That's how legacies are built. Motivation might inspire you to dream, but commitment forces you to execute. And execution is where the difference is made. There are millions of people with dreams. Very few are disciplined enough to do the work. That's because they've bought into the idea that they need to feel a certain way to take action. They wait for inspiration instead of creating momentum. But those who win don't wait, they decide. They don't negotiate with laziness. They don't consult their emotions. They simply follow through. You don't need more motivation. You need a deeper commitment. You need to remember why you started. You need to build habits that work even when your mood doesn't. You need to tie your actions to your values, not your feelings, because feelings fluctuate. Values don't. When you are deeply committed to a vision that's bigger than your discomfort, your actions will reflect that, even on the hard days. Commitment doesn't make things easier. It makes you stronger. It turns a fragile mindset into a fortified one. It transforms chaos into clarity. It gives your life structure, direction, and integrity. It teaches you how to show up with excellence regardless of circumstances. And when that becomes your standard, everything changes. You don't need to chase motivation anymore because your decision has already been made. Push yourself when no one's watching. That's the real test of who you are and what you're committed to becoming. It's easy to perform when there's an audience. It's easy to give your best when the lights are on, when the room is full, when recognition is on the line. But who are you in the dark? Who are you in the early mornings and the late nights when no one sees the effort? When there's no applause, when there's no immediate reward. Truth doesn't happen on stages. It happens in silence. It happens in the moments where discipline overrules comfort. It's the hours spent training, studying, building, and refining when the world is asleep. That's where greatness is born. That's where separation occurs between the ones who are pretending and the ones who are preparing, as it helps us. The ones who push when no one is watching are the ones who lead when everyone is looking. You don't become excellent by accident. You become excellent by intention. And intentional effort in private creates undeniable results in public. When you're willing to push yourself behind closed doors, you build integrity. You develop confidence that's not dependent on validation. You cultivate the type of internal strength that no one can give you and no one can take away, because it's earned, not by being seen, but by being consistent. Most people only work hard when there's accountability, when someone's checking, when someone's grading their performance. But if you only move when you're being watched, your growth will always be limited. You'll be tied to external pressure instead of internal purpose. Real transformation happens when you become your own standard. When you decide that your future is too important to wait for approval. When you commit to showing up for your goals as it helps us, regardless of who notices. The gym you go to when it's empty, the book you read when the house is quiet, the extra reps, the extra hours, the notes you take, the calls you make, the habits you reinforce when no one will ever see the effort. Those are the things that shape your identity. That's where your edge is formed. That's where preparation meets opportunity, as it helps us. There's a principle at work. When you push yourself in private, you become the kind of person who can be trusted with more. You show the universe, your creator, and yourself that you're faithful with little, so you're ready to handle much. The people who won't wait for external rewards to get motivated. They push themselves because they understand what's at stake if they don't. They move because staying still would be a betrayal of their potential. Discipline in the dark creates dominance in the light. There's nothing glamorous about putting in work when no one's clapping. But over time, that work compounds. The compound effect of quiet produces loud results. You'll see it in how you think, how you speak, how you lead, how you respond under pressure. You'll start walking into rooms differently. Not because someone gave you permission, but because you know you paid for it in full, in private. You don't rise to the occasion, you rise to the level of your preparation. And preparation is lonely. It's not exciting. It's repetitive, thankless, and demanding. But it's also transformational. It separates those who dream from those who do. It creates the habits, the mental toughness, the character necessary to sustain success. Not just experience it for a moment, but carry it for a lifetime. If you want to change your life, start by changing what you do when no one else is around. Start holding yourself to a higher standard even when no one is watching. Start measuring your days by your effort, not your applause. Because the real prize is not recognition, it's becoming the kind of person who earns it without needing it. Your destiny responds to daily discipline. It doesn't respond to wishes, hopes, or even talent alone. Destiny is not some random event that happens to a few lucky people. It's the natural outcome of the choices you make consistently, especially the ones no one sees. The habits you practice, the mindset you shape, the decisions you repeat every single day, those are the seeds that grow into the life you've been called to live. Too many people think destiny is a moment, a breakthrough, a spotlight, but it's not a single event. It's a series of disciplined steps. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep in, as it helps us. It's investing time in growth when entertainment is easier. It's finishing what you start, even when the motivation fades. Discipline doesn't always feel good, but it builds something that feelings can't: character, resilience, and mastery. That's what destiny is attracted to. Discipline is proof of seriousness. Anyone can talk about their dreams, post about their goals, or create a vision board. But only a disciplined person pays the price in private to see the results in public. Discipline doesn't just create progress, it creates identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who leads themselves well, someone who doesn't need to be pushed to move. When that shift happens, you stop chasing potential and start walking in purpose. There's no shortcut to destiny. There's no fast path to purpose. There's only the process, and the process is daily. It's what you do when no one is forcing you. It's how you treat the small things. It's your attitude when the work is repetitive, when results are slow, when nobody is clapping. Discipline says, I keep showing up anyway. Because every time you do, you're moving closer. Not in leaps, but in layers. You're becoming the kind of person your destiny requires. Daily discipline sharpens your focus. It teaches you how to manage your time, your energy, and your attention. In a world full of distractions, that kind of clarity is a superpower. Discipline helps you filter out what doesn't matter so you can double down on what does. It gives your day direction. It turns ordinary minutes into extraordinary momentum. When you're disciplined, you stop living reactively and start leading yourself intentionally. People think discipline is about restriction. It's not. It's about freedom. Discipline frees you from the chaos of inconsistency. It frees you from the regret of procrastination. It frees you from the limits of your current level and opens the door to new levels of growth, impact, and influence. Helps us. Discipline is what gives your destiny structure. It anchors your vision in reality. Without it, the greatest calling stays unrealized. Your destiny doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be consistent. Small disciplines done daily create massive results over time. But because the results aren't immediate, most people give up. They don't understand that progress is often invisible before it's undeniable. They want to see fruit before they're willing to plant the seed. But destiny doesn't respond to convenience. It responds to commitment. And commitment is built on daily discipline. Every choice you make is either pulling you closer to or pushing you further away. It's in what you eat, what you read, how you speak, how you think, how you spend your time, how you treat your body, how you lead your family, how you pursue your mission. You don't arrive at your purpose on accident. You arrive because you trained for it, because you prepared for it, as it helps us, because you practice for it every day when it would have been easier not to. There's nothing glamorous about daily discipline. It's often repetitive, difficult, and unrecognized. But that's what makes it powerful. Because while others are waiting for inspiration, you're building habits that don't need it. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't rise to the level of opportunity, but the level of preparation. And that's exactly where destiny meets you.